Everyone, welcome back to the Football Forecast. And Liverpool have drawn to Leeds away from home. If you enjoy this, it would be great if you subscribe to the channel as well as liking the video. Alright, first of all, this is an absolutely terrible result for Liverpool considering the circumstances of where we were in these games. First of all, when we're 2-0 up, we were absolutely cruising in this game. It looked like it was going to be a comfortable 3 points. Probably the most comfortable 3 points we'd had all season. That's what it looked like it was going to have. And we were absolutely fine. And then all it takes is sort of one mistake or one error and it just completely changes the game. Look, you have to blame Konate partially for this change in momentum in this game because it is his sliding challenge which gives Leeds the penalty that Dominic Calvert-Lewin converts. But there's also going to be a serious question around the overall team. Whenever a team scores or something goes against us, it feels like the game just completely changes and we don't have the mentality to keep on playing. This for me feels very reminiscent of Man United post Sir Alex Ferguson, where they just can't deal with sort of anything going against their way, and they often bottle leads. They often show sort of a weak mentality and struggle in these sort of games, and that's what it was exactly like today. As soon as it went 2-1 through Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I was convinced we were not going to win that game. I was like, oh my gosh, here we go again, because that Leeds crowd will get behind them. The players haven't been able to deal with adversity all this season. When we're winning games comfortably, we look like a completely different side. But when this sort of things happened, it turned into absolute chaos, and that's what it was. We started giving the ball away immediately, and Leeds eventually went up the field and scored through Stach. It was a good goal from Stach. I do think Alisson needs to be questioned on this goal. I think he's dived way too early and actually dived the wrong way. And look, it was actually a good, well-worked goal from Leeds. It was a good ball in from Aronson, which is the sort of thing that Liverpool need to do more of. But it still comes down to that thing of immediately, 3 minutes later, we concede. That was just so obvious, and it never felt like that wasn't going to happen. And then just when you thought, oh, Liverpool have got away with this, it was a really good dummy run from McAllister after a good run up the pitch. Just when you felt Liverpool may have got away with this, it was a very good ball by Ryan Gravenberch, a good dummy run by McAllister, an excellent finish by Szoboszlai to put us 3-2 up. No, we throw away another lead, and once again, it's from another set piece. It's weak mentality, it's weak defending, and it's just all our problems showing once again this season. And Tanaka sends the Leeds fans into raptures, and they deserved to get something from this game. I think on the balance, the second half, they were a lot better than us. And look, at the end of the day, you cannot expect to win games of football when you concede 3 goals. The fact we got a point from this game was actually in some ways lucky, because once again, I go back to the issues that Liverpool are having. We're not creating great chances. You could argue the third goal was very well worked, and I think they deserve credit for this. But the first goal is purely a Leeds mistake. It's purely a bad pass by Joe Rodon, and it's a good finish by Hugo Ekitike. But we can't keep having to rely on other teams to make mistakes for us to score. It happened at Sunderland, happened against Aston Villa. All our positive results recently have been through other sides making mistakes. The second goal from Hugo Ekitike, it's the ball given away. Conor Bradley then puts a brilliant cross in, but it's because the ball was given away in the final by Leeds United. And then it's a good finish by Hugo Ekitike. He gets a little bit lucky with it, but he did really well to get into the area. And that's the problem right now. We're not actually creating any brilliant chances. Do I blame Slot for this draw? Now, I think the fact that we got into that position, the fact we threw that away, more comes down to the players' mentality, if you ask me. I know you can question sort of what is he telling the players to do when they get into those situations. But the players are just shot of confidence. It really is that simple. They just think, whenever this happens, we're just going to concede more and more goals, and that is what's continuing to happen. This is one of the worst defensive performances I've seen in a long time from Liverpool, and it continues to feel like I'm saying this every single week. I would like just to quickly go over the first half, because not a lot happened. Liverpool struggled to create chances in the first half as well as I think the second half. In the second half, we were better in terms of creating chances, but as I said, a lot of our chances that we got were based off Leeds' mistakes. In that first half, it was nowhere near as good as we needed to be. We weren't good in that first half. The one good thing about the first half is we're solid defensively. That's to some credit I can give them. We were decent in the midfield. Leeds weren't good in the first half, and they were so much better in the second half. And I think that's partly due to some good fight by Leeds United, especially after going 2-0 down. I think a lot of people would have lost belief in that ground. And Elland Road. Elland Road is a massive factor for Leeds United. I would say it's Leeds United's most important factor in terms of staying up, because I don't think they have the same amount of quality as the other sides around them, like your West Hams, your Forest, but they do have Elland Road, which can pick you up points, and I think it's picked them up at least 3 points, if not 4 points, in the last 2 games. Against Chelsea, I don't think they get anything without Elland Road. Against Liverpool, I think that they probably earned a point because of Elland Road, and that's what's keeping Farke in the job right now. I think without Elland Road, Daniel Farke would have been sacked by now, and if they do stay up, that's going to be the crucial reason, because I think away from home, they're still going to really struggle this season. Before I get into some player ratings for Liverpool and discussing some individual performances, I would like to give massive credit to Leeds United, because as much as Liverpool sort of gave them those points to an extent, Leeds United also showed a lot of fight in that game, coming from 2-0 down, and it's 2 excellent games for Daniel Farke and Leeds. You could argue 3. They were unlucky to maybe not get anything against Manchester City, considering that they took them to the 92nd minute. And look, they weren't great in that game, but they still managed to stay in the fight, and that was similar in today's game. Leeds United are a very difficult side at home to beat. We know this, and that's why going into this game, I was not confident, especially after seeing the result against Chelsea, and it's promising signs for Farke. Daniel Farke was under a lot of pressure going into these 3 games. I would have sacked him. I still don't think he's probably the right manager to take them forward still, but at least he's starting to show some promise in games in which people didn't expect Leeds could get anything from. He's actually proven a lot of people wrong in this last week, picking up 4 points from a possible 6, because no one thought Leeds really had a chance against Chelsea. Some people would have predicted Leeds to win against Liverpool. I did. I thought there was a high chance that Leeds would beat us, because I rate Leeds at home. Only at home, though. Away, they've still got problems. And I think that's still the concern for Daniel Farke and Leeds, is how do we play better away from home? How are we not so reliant on Elland Road to get us through games? And I think that's probably going to be Leeds. What will cost Leeds this season is the fact they can't just perform well enough away from home. Then I'm on to the player ratings for Liverpool, starting off with Alisson in goal, and I'm going to give him a 5. As I said, I think he could have done slightly better on the second goal. Apart from that, though, there's not a lot he could have done with any of the goals, and he made a decent save, and he was decent in goal throughout. At right back, Conor Bradley, I'm going to give Conor Bradley a 6. I thought he was solid throughout and had a decent performance. Virgil van Dijk, I'm going to give him a 6. I didn't think he was at fault for much today, and I think he was decent. Ibu Konate, I'm giving Konate a 2. Mainly because I think he was one of the main reasons why the momentum of the game completely shifted. I know that other players are at fault for this as well, but Konate continues to be so mistake prone, and we just can't afford that right now. And he also made more mistakes, which Leeds should have punished more. Left back, Milos Kerkez, I'm going to give him a 6. Gravenberch, I thought Gravenberch was good today. I'm going to give him a 7. And then we've got Curtis Jones. I thought he was probably one of the best players on the pitch again. I thought the midfield in general were good today. I'm going to give him a 7. Szoboszlai, I'm giving Dominik Szoboszlai an 8. I thought he was absolutely brilliant today. Then we've got Wirtz, who played off the right. I'm going to give Wirtz a 6. Gakpo, I thought Gakpo was pretty poor today. He's really struggling right now, I think, to sort of have an impact. I'm going to give Gakpo 4. And then finally, Hugo Ekitike, I'm going to give him an 8. Now, what those player ratings prove is that in the Premier League, you can't have a couple of players that underperform or struggle, and it cost you, and it did today, and that's what I think was the real reason why we failed to win today. Just looking at some of the bench players as well, McAllister, I'm going to give him a 7, mainly because he was a huge reason why that third goal went in, which should have been the winner. And then finally, Joe Gomez, I thought he was solid. I'm going to give him a 6. For the manager, I'm going to give Slot a 5. I can't give him any more because we failed to win. But he did put us in winning positions. But as I said, what concerns me is the reason why we're scoring isn't because we're creating a load of chances or we're dominating the game. It's often because of mistakes from the opposition. Now I'm going to look at some significant performances for Leeds United. I thought the whole defence were good, apart from probably Joe Rodon. I think there's no doubt about this. Joe Rodon was the main culprit for why Liverpool took the 1-0 lead. He gave the ball away. It was a poor pass, and Hugo Ekitike then converted the chance. Then I'm looking at the midfield where Stach was very good. Obviously scored the equaliser, the first equaliser to make the game 2-2. Ethan Ampadu was absolutely brilliant for Leeds United in that midfield as well. Someone that really didn't play well, I thought, was Noah Okafor. I think he may not start the next game. I thought he was poor throughout. I think Nonto will start the next game. I thought he was a lot more threatening. Finally, we've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And look, Dominic Calvert-Lewin was poor throughout this game despite scoring from the penalty spot, and he just didn't really offer anything today. We've got Daniel Farke, and I think you could say he's done a good job today because they managed to get a point at home to Liverpool. Could have they won this game? Yes, but overall I think you've got to give him some praise. Where I'd probably slightly criticise Farke was sort of at the last couple of minutes of the game where they were sort of in the corner, they weren't really attacking. I think they should have gone for the winner. I think it was worth a go because we've just seen how fragile Liverpool were today in this game, and I think they could have definitely won the game if they just put the ball in the box, considering how weak we are in the air. Let me know your thoughts on this game. Do you think Leeds deserve the point? I do actually think a 3-3 draw is a pretty fair result. And if you enjoyed this, it would be great if you subscribe to the channel as well as liking the video.